You often feel tired, not because you've done too much, but because you've done too little of what sparks a light in you.
Comfort is sometimes more draining than effort. And what I mean by that is oftentimes I'll go sit on the couch because I'm tired. It actually makes me feel more tired than I was before.
But we actually have a hard time jumping from consumption to creation,
Yeah.
I think that's a natural thing
sure.
that can be tricky. I think I would call it a meaning epidemic. I don't think people give themselves the freedom to really think outside the box to create satisfaction and meaning in their own life.
How often is tiredness just a disguise for your boredom? Welcome, everybody, to the No Bushel Podcast. We are your hosts, Big Ben and the Burning Bushman. We are excited to really get in today.
No bushel, no bushel.
I like it.
Okay, that was the theme song for the day.
We're getting a little crazy over
Energy
here.
is lively
The No
today,
Bushel
okay.
Podcast today. I love it.
Like, subscribe, share with a friend. Feel free to comment. Our topic today is a quote that I heard years ago, and when I heard it, it just resonated with me. And so we thought we would share the quote and then talk about it. You often feel tired, not because you've done too much, but because you've done too little of what sparks a light in you.
Let that sink in for just a second.
You often feel tired, not because you've done too much, but because you've done too little of what sparks a light in you. I tried to find the reference for who said it, but apparently nobody knows. It's anonymous.
We can just say it's ChatGPT.
That was this. I first heard this before the days of ChatGPT.
Well,
Thank you very much.
I feel like anything can be quoted now with AI. But
Yeah.
my first thinking when you brought this quote to my attention was I relate to this so much. I can't tell you how many times I come home from work. I'm like, I'm so tired. I am exhausted. And I tell my wife, just let me have a couple of minutes. That turns into an hour or two, or the rest of the night.
And what is it you're doing for those 20 minutes too,
absolutely nothing. And that's why when you shared this quote, I was like, wow, this really hits home, because how often do I just need to rest, and then I end up doom scrolling on my phone for 20 minutes, turns into an hour, and then I feel like, what did I just do with my life? Nothing.
So it's a little ironic too, because these days, I looked up the stats, only 1 in 4 people actually have a manual job where they're actually physically laboring.
Mm-hmm.
Most 60+% of people have a desk job where they're just sitting at a computer all day long. And then what do most of us do? Even after sitting on a computer all day long,
we go sit in front of our screen
and sit in front of a screen.
Whether it's your phone or your TV, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is ironic that that's what we end up doing. Apparently, we just like to be glued to something.
We do. Well, I think it gets to the root of consuming versus creating. So actually, it's hard to jump between the two of those. We had a bunch of youth over at my house last night there was a worldwide devotional, and they make it so awkward. Okay, because
the youth or the video?
the video makes it so awkward. So they have this video. It's good. It's spiritual, but you're just watching it like a movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's there. And then suddenly they've been talking about something, and then they pull up a question on the screen and say, pause and discuss.
Uh-huh.
And you go with a bunch of teenagers who are sitting there just to chill and watch this video, and now you're supposed to engage them and you're actually supposed to talk. But we actually have a hard time jumping from consumption to creation.
Yeah.
I think that's a natural thing that can be tricky. This is one of the reasons people don't talk in classes. Seminary, it's probably the same thing. You get...
Yeah. Oh, it's so...
They're not in creative mode. They're in, let me just consume here with my teachers and listen, as opposed to think while
Right. Which is why the lessons where you can get them to create instead of just consume what you're teaching are the ones that they remember. For instance, this last week, you mentioned that one of the kids had talked about my co-teacher had done a back handspring at the end of class because they had accomplished their memorization of one of the scriptures, and he said that he would do it. He'd prove him that he could do it. And that class was about us like creating goals and actually drawing pictures of what our goals looked like. So there was an actual creation portion of that. And you said that at this event that you guys were at yesterday that she had mentioned it was one of her favorite ones.
So shout out to Tia. It was actually not at the event. It was she gave a talk in sacrament meeting.
Oh,
so
it was in
she shared it in sacrament
even
meeting.
better.
Yeah.
So across the pulpit for everybody to hear.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it was not me that was teaching that lesson. So shout out to Tyler for a good lesson.
Last night when we were chatting as a group, so we set it up like movie theater style, a bunch of couches in the main room and the TV up top, and then every time the question came up, there were like 3 different questions I think throughout it, and so I would go up to the front and try to engage them, and it's like, okay, I know your brains are all in consumption mode. I said this to him. I said, but right now we're gonna easily engage your brain so that then you can actually critically think. So I want you all to think of your favorite ice cream flavor. Think it in your mind, and on the count of 3, everybody say it out loud. That way they're like engaging their tongues and their brains a little bit, and something easy.
Actually do something.
And then they all recited, okay, you've all said something now, so now you can all say something again. We actually had some decent engagement last night, which kind of surprised me because so many, I've been at several of those. And the video, I actually liked the broadcast better than normal, but they still sometimes are a little cheesy. That's okay.
I think in general, the church productions are often cheesy.
I'm not trying to bash the church. It was a positive event last night. I think the youth had a good time.
It's an area where we could improve upon.
Maybe so.
Yeah, but this goes to something that I was thinking about with this particular topic, as we've been talking about consumption, and what we are designed to do, and that is that God created us to do things, to not just to be bums on a log, right? He created us to do, not to just consume, and we can see that in history, like and biblically, the scriptures teach us that is the case. When God created Adam, was the first thing He told him was to go and till the garden, go to work, right? Go and be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. There was something for him to go and do, rather than just sit here and wait for me to come tell you what, more information.
And a go and do thing that was not a checklist, right? It wasn't a do this and then this and this and this. Go and make the garden look beautiful, right? Like that is a super creative proposition. And so much of the world today is either consumption based or checklist based.
Right.
We go to school, we get an assignment, you finish the assignment, and most of them, well, if you get a good teacher, great.
Right.
But if you don't get a good teacher, like you're doing all of these tasks without any creative input, and if you don't have the creative input, there's no
meaning. Yeah. The meaning's lost on it, right? And again, that's why your good teachers that can get you to find that meaning really make a difference. And you look scripturally, that's also like God is the ultimate teacher, and so Adam had this great experience in the garden. Also had a little bit of a negative experience in the garden because he chose to go against his teacher, but the principle still applies. Same with, like, you look at Moses, right? Moses had saw God face to face, and what did he tell him after he said, "You are a son of God. I have a work for you to do. Yep. You have a purpose." So I think that if we can internalize that, it's not just go to work, but having a purpose, that meaning that really gets behind this idea. You're going to be tired when you are done working, right? I mean, that is, it's inevitable. When your body exerts itself, we're going to get tired. But does that tiredness have a purpose? And is it just, what kind of tiredness is it, right?
So I have a 3-year-old. And my 3-year-old can go and go and go and go, and he doesn't want to miss out on anything. Like, everything is new and exciting, and he's constantly in true play, right? Like he's in a state of flow. Like everything is perfect. And does he get tired? Absolutely. He gets tired. But does he even know that he's tired?
Half the time, no.
No, he doesn't.
Right.
It's like as soon as he does something where he sits still, right? It's like, okay, we turn on a movie or something, and like he's out in the first couple of minutes because he finally stopped moving.
His body finally catches up to him.
But he has so much creative energy, and you mentioned this work, meaningful work, and I think when we attach meaning to work, it can be a sense of play. Okay,
Yeah.
And when I say play, we often use the term play as like we play a sport or we play a game or we play like those are almost too rigid. Play has to be very free flowing. It's about engaging the creative side of our brain, and I think that this quote spoke to me when I first heard it, and I had the first same thought. It was like, wow, that is me. Like I get home and even when I'm not home, like whatever I'm doing,
right.
like, I feel tired, and there are times when I don't, and there's times when I'm really engaged, and I'm like, this is awesome, and I'm loving it, and I'm working towards something meaningful. And so it's, why is it that this is so ubiquitous, that so many people feel like they're tired all the time? Why do we have no meaning in so many things that we do?
And that's a good question, and that's something that each of us have to kind of come to terms with individually, because like we all have our own individual purposes and what motivates us in life. When I think of being tired, oftentimes I use tired, but and vocally that's what I say, but that's not really what it actually is. Like, how often is tiredness just a disguise for your boredom? Like, I get home and now I'm not working. I'm just sitting on the couch. The kids are running around, and I'm a little tired, like actually tired from being at work all day. And so, like, not really feeling like I want to get out and move around with the kids. But then I'm not doing anything, so I'm bored. So then I'm just like, I'm tired. And I think oftentimes we use the incorrect verbiage to describe what we're feeling. And then, because I say, well, I'm tired, then it's more of an excuse to sit on the couch or go lay down in bed or just like scroll on my phone and not do something because I'm tired, when really I'm just bored and I need that creative juice or action. And oftentimes the cure to boredom or to tiredness is action. Like, let's go do something. How often is it that you feel like you are tired or exhausted in the middle of something that's like exciting and fun, and you're still, exerting energy?
And this is why technology is so dangerous, because technology has this amazing ability to make us feel like we're doing something when we're really not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, it engages the brain just enough. Well, it over engages the brain probably. We think that we're learning something. We think that we're whatever it is that we're scrolling through. There's going to be, if we don't do it, we're going to miss something, or we're going to.
Oh, I totally fall into that trap. Yeah.
And yet, it causes us to miss out on some of what should be the best real moments of our lives.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. The more that I focus on technology specifically, and typically that's my phone, the more I miss out on the real opportunities. And to be honest, this is why I love my wife, because she is fantastic, and she's not afraid to call me out on it, because I can't tell you how many times she's like, Kendall, you've got to put your phone down. You're missing, like, you just missed this awesome thing that our kid just did. And then this is where it really gets me, is then I get upset because she just called me out. And I'm also, I think, ashamed that I missed out on this event with my kid, or whatever it is. And instead of oftentimes instead of like saying, okay, no, you're right, let me just put this down and I'll go and be engaged, I like want to draw in more and be like, oh, no. I'll come back to it later. And that's where you start to really have a lot of problems, right? It sucks you in and can give you the wrong feelings.
It's like Adam and Eve when they tried to hide their sin.
Yeah.
Like you feel shame.
Mm-hmm.
And we all deal with that shame a little bit differently.
Yeah.
However, a very common way is just to kind of hide and then hope that nobody sees you. Mm-hmm. Or you go to a more private place and hope that nobody knows where you went off to. Or you go to the bathroom just because no one's going to follow you into the bathroom. And so you can have a little bit of peace and quiet.
And then that bathroom trip ends up taking 30, 45 minutes.
Sitting there pondering in the bathroom. Like, that's funny. My brother, I have a brother who would spend a long time in the bathroom. This was before the days of phones, so I don't know why he was always in there so long, but it became a thing in our family, and we always called it, people would ask, where's Will? It's like, he's pondering. No one wanted to say what he's doing, so he was pondering in the bathroom.
Just pondering in the bathroom. Just taking some time for some self-reflection.
Yeah. So another aspect of this that I think we miss. So we need to fill our life with meaningful, creative things. I think that's really valuable. I also think that when it comes to enjoyment of life, we need to have more adventure. Mm-hmm. And I think we live in a world that is so prone. Well, how do I say it? Safetyism. We are so worried about being safe in everything that we do that we are very rarely taking positive risks. Okay, mm-hmm. and I, risky behavior, like you don't want to be engaged in like super risky behavior, like you get that. But at the same time, there's something about whether it's social risk or emotional risk or physical risk, even spiritual risk, that when you put yourself out there a little bit where it's a little risky, it kind of engages a deeper part of your inner being. So I think it's somewhat related to, have you ever noticed so I've been working out most mornings, and I've been trying to improve my pull-ups anyway. So I've been doing a lot of pull-ups, and when I'm just cold turkey, and I'm like try to max out on how many pull-ups I can do, it's not ever as many as if I warm up first and I do several reps first. You get the blood flowing, you get the everything, and then you can do more reps than you could if you were just to start out. Same thing. So Kendall's actually really good at holding his breath, if any of you want to know that. So we've had some breath holding competitions. And have you ever noticed that when you hold your breath, if
you the very first time,
you can never get nearly as long. Like I'll do like maybe a minute on my first one, but then on the second or third one, you can do like 2.5, 3 minutes, and it's like, how did I get so much longer on the second one than your body like preps for it? And I think that risk is almost, it's like that
kind of the same idea.
Up. It's like if you allow yourself to put a little bit of risk into whatever activity you're doing, it stimulates you enough that it engages your whole being, and it makes it a more can make it a more meaningful thing. And, obviously within restraints of risk, but
also taking risk kind of oftentimes forces you into a situation, and then you're stuck in the situation. You might as well move forward and go for it, right? Like I think of this is something that I have struggled with as far as like the youth movement. There is such a lack of risk and adventurism, specifically with like going outdoors and doing things, because we have video games and phones and like all of this technology stuff that is really cool and exciting and can be engaging to a certain extent. But all of my like core memories as a youth were outdoors, going on hikes and going on campouts and like doing these big adventurous things. And when you start day one on like a 100-mile hike, it's a little risk. There's some risk involved.
Absolutely.
You get 15 miles into it, and you can either choose to walk back the 15 miles by yourself, or you can choose to go with the group and finish the 100 miles. And either way is going to be rough, but you're kind of forced into that.
And here's the thing. So like, what's harder? Like, it's still really hard, and it's tough, and maybe you don't even like it in the moment, right? Like, I think of this like work. Like, people go to work and maybe you don't like it in the middle of it, but yet there can still be this overarching mission.
Yeah.
That when you complete it, you just feel so much better. That satisfaction of like actually doing something difficult and hard.
That's what is the satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
You finally get through it, and oftentimes you can do that. You find yourself like in a group, like there are other people that are part of that is also satisfying.
Camaraderie.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas if you do it by yourself, sometimes you miss a little bit of that satisfaction. But there's just being able to push through something that's hard and difficult allows you to have the satisfaction. And not just like, oh, I feel good because I did something, but like also mentally the shift of like, no, I can do that. Like, I did something. I did a hard thing. What else can I do now? What, my potential, I just realized the doors are open now. I can go do all these other things, which is a really cool place to be when you get to that point.
Absolutely. So, talking a little bit about agency and what we choose to do. Like you said, a lot of people don't do anything like big, long hikes or things. And when you do, oftentimes it's like they're just calling for their phone. Oh, can I please just have my phone back? This is terrible. And yet, when we actively choose to do things that put ourselves a little bit out of our comfort zone, that have some deeper meaning, I think the physical nature of it is also really, I think in many respects, physical things are extra meaningful because it's also healthy for our body to move, which can be beneficial. But so much, kind of getting to the root again of like why so many people struggle with this meaning epidemic. I think I would call it a meaning epidemic, where we go through life, we do what we've been told to do. We, many of us are just kind of following cultural shifts, or cultural biases, things that just everybody does. And so, you have a 9-to-5 job and you clock in, day out, and that's just kind of like your only option because that's what people do. And I don't think people give themselves the freedom to really think outside the box and do what can find meaning in, like something that's really theirs. They're not just doing for somebody else, but that they're doing to create satisfaction and meaning in their own life.
For sure. That's where the risk comes in, because for me personally, I've struggled with like knowing what my purpose or like what is it that I really enjoy doing or like feel fulfilled in, and can I accomplish that through my work or whatever it is. And so sometimes it takes a risk of just like trying new things to do that, and like you said, you have to allow yourself to do that, because if you don't, then you're never going to find anything new. You're just going to be stuck with the same old. Kind of like what we're doing with this podcast, right? Like, this is a risk, hoping that some of you guys might actually listen to us, right?
Yep,
and
absolutely.
Putting our real thoughts and ideas out there. For me personally, I find some fulfillment in this because I'm able to voice my opinion and share what I think to be truth and light and hopefully inspire other people to do the same thing. But there's risk involved because, what comments are going to come our way? How will family members react to our videos or our close friends?
We already had our first negative comment. Thank
we
you.
Take that as
whoever you are.
we'll take that as a badge of honor. Someone other than one of our wives who's adding a comment to our videos. But that risk is almost it's exciting in some ways because it allows you to grow and to change and to find out more about yourself instead of just mindlessly scrolling through that phone.
Which is so easy. It's harder to be actively engaged and to do many good things of your own free will and choice, as the scripture says. So a lot of people even have issue with this in a spiritual sense. So the church has shifted, and there's kind of this pendulum back and forth of like, we're going to prescribe everything, and like, this is right and this is wrong, and this is what you should do on the Sabbath, this is what you shouldn't do on the Sabbath, or and then the pendulum swings every decade or so to the other side where it's like, just follow the Spirit, do things that are right. And every time that it swings towards that follow the Spirit side, it causes this like reaction in people. It's like,
there's two reactions, right?
Wait a second. The church needs to stand firm and like tell us what to do and do this, but that's actually harming us. If we just do what other people tell us to do, even if it's the church, if you just do what the church tells you to do, that's actually damaging to your spirit. We have to have agency and choose of our own free will and choice and determine and discern between truth and error, not just let other people tell us what's true and wrong. And it's part of finding meaning. If you go long enough just doing the checklist thing, you're going to lose meaning. And you have to have flexibility and agency or freedom. Once again, I will tie to free play or real true play. You have to have that in order to develop real meaning in life.
On the flip side of what kind of your reaction to the church like having these changes is we tend to like pull in on ourselves, like that's not okay. We can't have that much freedom and flexibility. The opposite argument would be like, there's no more restrictions. We can do whatever we want. And so I do think that there needs to be a balance between the two. Like that is the benefit of, in this case, like the church having some form of guidelines. Like we have the commandments and we have the doctrines that we align ourselves with. But like you said, we still have to choose whether or not we follow those and how strictly we follow those. And that's where there does need to be a balance between the two, because if you just say, well, there's no more rules, I don't need to do anything, or I can do whatever I want, then
there has to be some
you can
rules.
see the chaos that would come with that. But the general idea of what you're getting at is what I would agree with, is that we often obey rules just because they're rules, rather than because we have an understanding of the benefit of the rule and like what it actually does for you.
We don't necessarily really believe in the rule itself as much as following what we're told.
Yeah. For instance, like the 10 Commandments, I think pretty much universally we all can get behind those. Like it makes sense that I shouldn't kill or cheat or steal, but there are other commandments that we're like, do I really believe that? Is it, the word of wisdom, for instance, like do I really need to not drink coffee or whatever it is, or tithing, how are you doing it just because it's a commandment, or are you doing it because you feel that there's a personal connection as to why you're following that?
So, slight different direction here, but another way that I think we can inspire more meaning in our life is through family. Families, people are putting a smaller emphasis on family. And so when you lose track of the value of family, it's like, well, okay, that's a huge part of meaning and purpose in life. And even if you do have a drudge job, but you have a family that you're providing for at home, like you've got a lot of meaning to like be there and provide for your family, right? And even just that, the honor of sacrifice and for a greater cause is super, super valuable and meaningful. And the more kids you have, the more purpose you've got. Just saying.
There's a shameless plug there for
announcing that my wife is pregnant with our ninth child, so we're excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our kids are super excited to have another cousin.
I say that, and people are probably like, man, that guy, he just must be sleeping around and like having as many babies. I try to be a respectful person, all with the same woman, been married.
Happily. You have great kids too.
Have an awesome family.
Yeah, you do. I 100% agree with you on what you're talking about, though, with the lack of emphasis on family, which I think goes to show why your family is so happy and like you guys just looking and watching from the outside in can see that there's a real connection and personal fulfillment. Something that I was thinking as you were talking was that you just mentioned like even with a boring job, you can find fulfillment in coming home to family. And I think that's important because sometimes we focus so much on like, well, I have to go find a job that I'm going to find so much fulfillment in, and I have to, find my purpose in my work. And while if you can, great, by all means do that, and that would be fantastic. But also know that work is like your 9-to-5 job is not always or is less likely to be your purpose in life. It's typically involves your relationships with other people, such as your family. So if you can find that purpose in family and your community, then the 9-to-5 doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But what you're bringing home, not in terms of financials, but being able to provide, but then come home and enjoy that life with them, it's going to be so much better than anything else that you can find at work.
And it's so fun to find ways to create with your children too. Being, you don't have to like everything that your children like, and they don't have to like everything you like, but there's going to be some crossover, and there's going to be some things that you just love doing together, and those can be really, really meaningful. Sorry for if not sure how well that thumping is coming across. Apparently there's some construction and our sound booth is not soundproof enough, so sorry for that.
They're hanging things on the wall, I think. I've really enjoyed this topic and conversation as we're thinking about like what makes you tired, and is tired really tired, or are we just lacking motivation and purpose? So our invitation to everybody watching would be to find some purpose, right? Find what really drives you, whether that's work or hopefully that's involves your family, your kids, and find something that can be fulfilling. Something that I've kind of thought about was that just being busy does not equate to fulfillment. So don't just fill your life with something just to do it. I mean, this goes back to what we talked about at the beginning, right? Like I can fill my life. I can be busy scrolling my phone. I can be doing that. I can be busy at work, working with patients or talking with people. But is just being busy to be doing something, actually doing something? Or is my busyness actually fulfilling my purpose or giving me a meaning?
So I just thought of this experience I've had recently with lots of, especially little children, but all ages, all of my kids at some point will come up to me and say, "Dad, I'm bored." And they want me to give them something to do, right?
Yeah.
But
not a chore.
They probably hate it when I say this, but I often will say, "Oh, good, I'm so glad. That means you get to be creative right now. Figure out something to do." And in reality, we all kind of become victims to our environment in that there's nothing to do, and so we're like, well, there's nothing to do. I'm a victim to this. That means I can't do anything, and I'm going to be bored, and then we play that off as tired, and so we're just going to do something that's not as valuable. And inevitably, they always find something to do, and something that they really enjoy doing. And it doesn't most of the time take a lot of toys or a lot of like things. It's just imagination and finding more purpose in life. And I worry that maybe many of us grew up in such a regimented childhood that we never truly developed the ability to find ways to play.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, and I would also say that it becomes more difficult the older we get. Like for children, it seems to be just naturally part of their world is creativity, right? The older we get, the less we use that. So if you can train your children to be creative and have that part of like who they are, I would assume that they'd be able to take that further into life and make that take that with them into adulthood rather than losing that creative.
I think we all come to Earth very naturally creative.
Yeah.
And sadly, I think many kids lose it because of how they're parented or how they're taught, that they kind of gets forced out of them, which is sad and unfortunate. So we hope that you don't feel a lack of meaning in your life. We hope you don't feel tired or bored. And if you do something about it.
Get up and do something.
Yeah. Get up and do something. Be creative.
Yeah.
Even if it's simple. Like I've learned that I find great joy in coloring. No, I know that sounds totally silly. And maybe it's because I have a lot of children, but like I actually really enjoy taking a beautiful picture and like shading it and like really intricately.
You must be decent at art because
I'm really not. I'm really pretty bad actually, but I enjoy it. It's something that is really like I find value in when I do it. And so that's something like we'll sometimes just get the family together and like listen to an audiobook or something as we're all coloring. And that might not seem like overly creative, but when you're building and designing and trying to create something that looks good, it is very creative.
Well, I would say that it definitely sounds creative. What my first thought would be like, how productive is that? Like, am I actually doing something? And then I compare it to like what I typically do, which is to doom scroll on my phone, like coloring on a piece of paper with my family, listening to an audiobook. All of a sudden sounds way more productive than just scrolling through Facebook.
So
right?
I think this is one of the lies that we fall into, and that is that we think that productivity is meaningful.
Right.
And in many cases, productivity is not meaningful.
Yep.
Depending on what you're producing.
For sure.
I mean, obviously, we live in a world that teaches us to be very efficient. And yet, sometimes we just need to slow down more and enjoy the moments for what they are.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. But my last thought here, parting thought, would be that comfort is sometimes more draining than effort. And what I mean by that is oftentimes I'll go sit on the couch because I'm tired, right? And because I want to take a break. And then my wife will tell you that this happens all the time. I sit on the couch and then I fall asleep because I'm all of a sudden comfortable and just in a comfortable place. Which there's some benefit to having a nap every now and then, and but
we're not saying that's bad.
but having that be my excuse, like, oh, I'm tired when I'm really just bored, and then sitting on the couch or scrolling through my phone or laying down for an extended period of time even though I didn't need to, actually makes me feel more tired than I was before. It's like when I wake up in the morning, every now and then I wake up and I'm like, I just feel good. But it's like 10 minutes before my alarm was supposed to go off.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, I should just get up because I feel good.
But then you don't.
But I'm tired. So I go back to sleep for 10 minutes and then I wake up when my alarm goes off and I feel groggy. And, you know, so oftentimes finding that comfort in like trying to rest actually does the opposite and makes us feel more tired. Whereas if I get up and I go and do something and I'm productive or creative or just giving some form of effort allows me to not feel that tiredness. This morning was a perfect example of that. I'm trying to get up a little bit earlier than I usually do. So I teach seminary, and so seminary starts at 6. I'm usually have to get up by 5:30 to get there. So I'd like to get up at about 5 now, and I want to go do a walk before seminary.
That's nice.
Just to like get up and do. And we didn't have seminary this morning, and so I didn't have to be up at 5:30 to go. So I pushed it a little bit later than I was originally planning on it. But even then, I got up before I normally would have. And getting up and going to the gym and working out, it just felt good to get up and go do, putting an effort in rather than just sleeping in a couple of extra minutes.
And if you can give yourself purpose and plan the night ahead of time too, like, so I do something similar, but the first thing I do in the morning is study the scriptures. And if I don't know what I'm going to study the next day, and then I am much less likely to get up. If the night before I'm like, you know what, I'm intrigued by this. I really kind of want to study this. I want to think about this. Then I'm much more likely in the morning if I sometimes I'll even like write it down so that I can remember first thing, like, oh yeah, I wanted to do that. And then because I want to do that, I get up.
Having a plan makes such a big difference. Now, again, don't make it a checklist all the time, because that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, where if you just make it a checklist, you're just checking it off just to accomplish the list, which there is some benefit to doing that in certain situations, but having a plan, a designated plan of this is what I want to accomplish, how I'm going to accomplish it, and then making it happen is so beneficial.
And we do need to reassess from time to time, because oftentimes things that start as a creative venture, we then do long enough that it becomes a checklist thing, like, oh yeah, I need to do this, or I need to do this, and we constantly have to balance that creative nature, and sometimes we tweak it, sometimes we don't, sometimes we just reassess and ground ourselves, and then move on.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've done a good job covering this topic. I am going to do some real good self-reflection tonight as far as like, why am I feeling tired? And when I'm feeling tired, I need like an alarm bell going off in the back of my mind whenever I sit down on the couch, like, get up, go do something, go be more than just a doomsday scroller on Facebook or YouTube.
Remember, you don't feel tired because you've done too much. You feel tired because you've done too little of what sparks a light in you. So spark that light. Don't let it be hidden under the bushel. Speak your mind, your heart, your will.
And if you're doom scrolling right now and you happen to see us on your Facebook or YouTube, like and subscribe, and then get off and go do something
else. Yes, I love it.
So we look forward to talking with you guys next week, and for now we'll sign off. I'm the Burning Bushman. This is Big Ben, and we are the No Bushel Podcast.
Boom, boom, boom. No Bushel Podcast.
I love it.